So what is the difference between I stopped eating and I stopped to eat? Because the meaning is very different. Hi everyone, welcome to English with Aga. In today's video, we're talking about gerunds, so verbs with an ing at the end. For example, playing, swimming, going, and infinitives, which are verbs that have to in front of them. For example, to swim, to eat, to play. There is a free cheat sheet you can download from the link in the video description, which has lots of gerunds and infinitives with a lot of sentence examples as well. So make sure you get that. And watch this video until the end because there will be a practice exercise. So some verbs in English only go with a gerund. For example, the verb to avoid. I avoid going out when it rains. And then there are other verbs in English that only go with an infinitive. For example, he refused to go out. And then there are verbs that can go with both gerunds and infinitives. Sometimes the meaning changes and sometimes the meaning is the same. So we will look at all of those different situations in this video. So first, let's look at gerunds. We're going to look at about 20 verbs that normally go with a gerund. Of course, there are exceptions, and I want to include some of those exceptions in this video, but it's really impossible for me to cover all of them in just one video. All I want to do now is introduce this topic. If you want to learn more about grammar, you can also check out my English grammar membership, which I have linked to in the video description as well. So, the first verb that normally goes with a gerund is to enjoy. Lauren enjoys swimming in the ocean. So she enjoys swimming. That's a gerund, a verb with ing at the end. To avoid. My colleague Jeff avoids eating junk food. He tries not to eat it. To consider. The directors considered hiring a new employee. They thought about it. To delay. We delayed making a decision until next week. So we decided to wait a little bit. To finish. My boss finished writing his report last night. To mind. Do you mind closing the window? Are you okay to do it? But you can also use to mind with if. Do you mind if I close the window? Is it okay if I do it? There is no gerund in this sentence. So that is one exception. The verb to mind can go in different types of sentences. To practice. Chloe practices playing the piano every week. But you can also say, I need to practice to pass my exam. So in this sentence, practice is not used with an infinitive. The word combination to pass is not an infinitive here. To means in order to. So in order to pass. So in this sentence, we didn't say exactly what I'm practicing. But I could say, I need to practice playing the piano to pass my exam. To recommend. My doctor recommends taking vitamins daily. He thinks it's a good idea. But you can also use recommend with that. The doctor recommended that I get more exercise. So in this sentence, there is no gerund. There is just a verb in its basic form. I get. To suggest. I suggest going for a walk after dinner. But just like with recommend, suggest can also be used with that. I suggest that we wait a while before we make any decision. So just like with recommend, when you use suggest with that, the verb is in its basic form. I suggest that we wait. To admit. She admitted making a mistake. She said she's responsible for it. But you can also admit to something, and that to is not part of an infinitive. Usually there is a noun after to. For example, to admit to a crime, to say that you're responsible for it. You can also use that after admit. He admitted that his ideas were wrong. To appreciate. They appreciate receiving feedback on their work. They're grateful for it. They like it. To postpone. They postponed visiting the museum until next month. They decided to do it later. To resent. My colleague resents having to explain his work to other people. He's frustrated about something he's accepted he has to do. To imagine. I can't imagine living without books. To miss. I miss going to the cinema. It's something I want to do more of. To dislike, detest, or loathe. My cousin really dislikes cycling. He really doesn't like it. To resist. James resisted eating dessert to stick to his diet. He stopped himself from eating it. To risk. Mike risked losing his job by speaking out against his company. And now let's look at some verbs that always go with an infinitive. And don't forget to download your free cheat sheet with verbs and examples from the video description. The first verb that goes with an infinitive is to agree. She agreed to meet him for lunch. She said yes. But to agree can also be followed by a noun. James and his boss agreed his new salary. They agreed how much he's going to earn. To choose. They chose to study abroad for a semester. But to choose can also be followed by a noun or a gerund. There are two activities to choose from, reading and writing. And Sarah chose writing. To decide. He decided to start his own business. To expect. They expect to finish the project by next week. They think it will be finished by then. To hope. I hope to travel to Europe next month. To offer. She offered to help me with the presentation. To plan. My neighbours are planning to renovate their house this year. But you can also use to plan with on. I'm planning on learning Italian next year. So there's a verb with ing if you say to plan on doing something. The meaning is the same. To promise. Andrew promised to call me after the meeting. To refuse. Jenny refused to sign the contract without changes. She said she wouldn't do it. To seek. Our customer service specialists seek to improve customer satisfaction. That's what they're trying to do. To struggle. He struggled to meet the deadline for the project. He found it difficult. To tend. The flowers tend to bloom in the spring. That's what they usually do. To attempt. Sharon attempted to learn a new language. She tried to do it. To claim. My neighbour claims to speak 10 languages. That's what he says he can do. To fail. Fergal failed to submit the report on time. He didn't do it. To intend. My nephew intends to pursue a career in photography. That's what he wants and plans to do. To manage. They managed to finish the project ahead of schedule. They succeeded. To strive. Anna strives to achieve excellence in everything she does. She makes a great effort. Now let's look at one verb that can go with either a gerund or an infinitive, and the meaning is the same. To like. I like eating early. I like to eat early. They are the same. Now let's go back to the example from the start of this video. To stop eating and to stop to eat. The meaning is very different. I stopped eating meat. It means I don't eat meat anymore. I'm vegetarian. I stopped to eat a sandwich. So I was driving for a long time and then I stopped to eat a sandwich. So I stopped my car in order to eat a sandwich. Now let's do a practice exercise. Tell me, should it be a gerund or an infinitive? I struggled meeting or to meet the deadline on my essay last month. I struggled to meet. Joe chose quitting or to quit his job because he didn't enjoy it. He chose to quit it. He decided to do it. My parents appreciated getting or to get help with their move. They appreciated getting help. I avoid staying or to stay up late at night. I avoid staying up late. How many did you get right? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to download your free cheat sheet with all of these verbs and some more examples of sentences. The link is in the video description. And I'll see you next time. Bye!